never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is the first hump day in the month of June. And it is, once again, time for another weekly Top 10 Countdown. And this week's Top 10 Countdown is not sports related or not wrestling related. I feel like for about the past 5 or 6 weeks, maybe longer, every Top 10 Countdown has either been about sports or wrestling. So I decided it was time to go off the beaten path again, so to speak. And this is a top 10 countdown that a lot of people will be interested in now that it is summertime. I know, like last summer, I did a couple of videos talking about, places you should go if you're on vacation, things to do on vacation, and all that kind of good stuff. So this time we're going to talk about things to do, but it's not on vacation. It's fun things to do if you do not have any money, because if you have kids or grandkids or nieces, nephews, anything like that, they're out of school now for the summer. And of course, kids, especially under the age of 11, 12 years old, do not understand the concept of money. They feel like if they want to go somewhere, no matter where it is, you should be able to just get in the car and go with no problem, no questions asked. And of course, you try to explain to them that that's not quite how it works, but they don't understand that. And a lot of times, even if you have the money, if you have started a brand new job, most people do not get a vacation when you start a brand new job for at least 6 or 7 months. So maybe you do have the money, you just cannot go because you've started a new job. But this is fun things to do with no money, just in case your kids want to go somewhere, but you just can't afford to take them, to the beach or to the lake, to the mountains, to the Grand Canyon, wherever it is you want to go. Now, this particular list comes to us from RadicalFire.com, and I chose their website because this list just came out in March, so it was the most recent of all the websites. But I could easily come back next week and give you another website's 10 things to do with no money. So without further ado, this week's Top 10 Countdown, fun things to do with no money from Radical Fire. And if you've done any of these things, as always, please feel free to let me know. Number 10, play board games. Now, this is something you can do, whether it's just you and your family, or if you have other friends and family over the house. You can easily go to your local retail store or get online and find bukus of board games, and a lot of them are really, really fun, and a lot of them include 7 or 8 players, so you can entertain a household for hours upon hours if you have 7, 8, 9 different board games. Number 9, this is mainly for the adults, but it's reduce your bills. And it's just something you can do if you're home and you've got time to kill, because this day and time with everything continuing to go up, it's good to find ways to save money. So easily write down some things that you spend money on that you simply don't need. You want them, but you don't need them. And just by cutting out things that you don't really need, you'd be surprised at how much money you would save. I'll give you a quick example. It doesn't involve me because I don't like coffee at all. I'd rather drink out of a dirty toilet than drink coffee. But a lot of people drink coffee. A guy that I go to church with goes to McDonald's and spends $1, $1.25, whatever it is, for a Mickey Donald's cup of coffee. Well, now a lot of people go to Starbucks if they have a Starbucks in their area, and they'll spend $6 for a cup of coffee. Now, the guy that I was talking about that I go to church with says that McDonald's coffee and Starbucks coffee are no different. There's no way I'm going to spend $6 for a cup of coffee when I can go to McDonald's and have the same cup of coffee for $1, $1.25. So let's just say you're one of those that thinks Starbucks has the best coffee in history of the world, which in my opinion, there's no such thing as good coffee. But if you all of a sudden go from buying a Starbucks coffee 7 days a week to buying a McDonald's coffee 7 days a week, you're saving right around $30 just by switching your coffee brands. So there are things that we all spend money on that in reality we don't really need. Number 8, it's not very specific, so you can decide what you want to do, but number 8 is get outside. Now, back in my day, kids loved to go outside, but a lot of kids nowadays won't go outside unless you absolutely force them to go outside. But it's good to go outside and go for a walk. Go to your local park. Go jump on the trampoline. Anything like that. If you have a kiddie pool outside, go outside and play in the kiddie pool. You could easily kill a few hours and have some family fun by just going outside in your yard or walking a mile or two up the road and spending family time together. Number 7, another one that's not very specific, volunteer. And the reason why it's not very specific is because it's not trying to be. Because every city and every county and every state has different things that you can volunteer to do. Whether it's take meals to the elderly, anything like that. Volunteer at the Rainbow Pantry. You can do several things to volunteer that'll keep you busy for hours and hours and hours to get you out of the house, but you're not going anywhere. Because a lot of times when people think they want to go somewhere, they don't really want to go anywhere. It's just they're bored. And if you have kids or grandkids, you know that if kids are inside more than an hour or two, unless they've got some kind of phone or tablet in their hand, they're saying, I'm bored, I'm bored. So then next thing you know, they want to go somewhere. Well, it's only because they're bored. So anything that you do that occupies them, they're fine. You don't have to get in the car and pack suitcase and go out of town for a week to occupy your kids or grandkids. Just give them something to keep them busy. Number 6 is check your local sports community And that's because a lot of cities, especially the bigger cities, bigger counties, if you go to the local ball fields, they're always having, 1 day baseball tournaments, 1 day soccer tournaments, 1 day basketball tournaments, 1 day softball tournaments, and just several things that you and or your kids can do that are good for your exercise. They're good for your physical health and physical well-being, but they also will keep you company, because if you go to your local sports park and you do an all-day softball tournament or an all-day soccer tournament, I can tell you by the time it ends, you're going to be ready to go to bed. 10 through 6 again is play board games, reduce your bills, get outside, volunteer, or check your local sports community. And this is fun things to do with no money from Radical Fire. Number 5 is explore with a tourist. And this is if you do have a little bit of money, but you don't have a lot of money, you can go somewhere and kill an entire day with friends and family by going to a city that you've never been to and go explore with a tourist and just walk around. And don't just walk at a fast pace, but actually walk and explore and search your surroundings and look at your surroundings. And I know me personally, I've been guilty plenty of times in the past of going to a park or a recreational center, and it's a place I've been to hundreds of times, but I always go, and for whatever reason, I walk fast like I'm in a hurry, even though I'm not. And then all of a sudden I go back and I have my kids with me, so I'm taking my time trying to show them around, and then I'll see something that I ain't never seen before and be like, I don't recall that being there. It's not that it's new, it's just I'm actually paying attention. Number 4, listen to podcasts. Now, this is a good one because it doesn't matter what you like. If you like comedy, you can find comedy podcast. If you like basketball, you can find basketball podcast. If you like wrestling, you can find wrestling podcast. If you like college football, you can find college football podcast. Anything that you like, you can find it on podcast. And whether it's a person or whether it's a group of people, whatever it is that you like to listen to, if you find that in podcast form, you'll be surprised at how many hours you can kill, because I've seen some podcasts that are 3-4 hours long. So if you listen to 5 or 6 of them, you've done killed an entire day. Number 3, check your community calendar. This is kind of going along with number 6, with check your local sports community, except for the community calendar, it may not be involving sports. But a lot of cities and counties, especially in the summertime, they'll be having like pie eating contest or cake eating contest or a watermelon eating contest, or they might get up early one morning and go for, a 4K walk or a 5K walk, things like that. And that's stuff that's usually free. And if it's not free, it's $3-4, and you can go and kill a bunch of time. And if you ever go to something like that, it's kind of like going to your local retail store. Whatever city, county, state you live in, you go to your local retail store and you're going to run into somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. Well, if you go to your local park or anything like that to do a cake eating contest or pie eating contest, you're probably going to run into 4 or 5 people that you have not seen in a long time. And between whatever the contest is and talking to people, you're probably going to be there for 9 or 10 hours. Number 2, something we should all do, whether we are a child or an adult, and that's head to the library. To this day, they still say that actually checking out library books and reading library books is probably the best thing that children can do. For some reason, if they've got a hardback copy of a book, for whatever reason, it soothes them better and gets up here better than finding the same book on Google and reading it word for word. For whatever reason, on the internet is just not the same as having the actual hardback book. And there's a library in every single county. So take your child or children up there, let them check out 4 or 5 books. They good to go for a while. And number one is make a bucket list. And everybody has a bucket list of somewhere they want to go or someplace that they've been before, but it's been a long, long time, especially if you look back at Numbers 10 through 2 and you realize that your family doesn't have any money and you haven't really been on a vacation in a while. You sit down and make a bucket list of things that you would like to do and places you would like to go whenever you do get enough money and time to go on vacation again. But everybody has a bucket list, whether it's get on an airplane, fly an airplane, go out of the country, go out of state, go see the Grand Canyon. Everybody has a bucket list. So just sit down and make a bucket list. And if you've got a family of 8 or 9 people, it'll take 2 or 3 hours for every single person to think of all the things they would like to do, write them down, and then you sit around in a group and go over each person's list to find out if anybody has the same thing wrote down. Maybe you've got 4 or 5 folks in your family that want to do the same thing, and you didn't know that. And then you sit down in a big circle and talk about it, and you realize, oh, you want to do that? You want to do that too? You too? Well, next time we get money, we'll go do that. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Did you hear about the guy who was afraid of hurdles? He got over it. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.